For most of my life, every decision came down to one question: what will people think of me? I spent years making everyone happy except myself. Then one evening, sitting alone in my car after agreeing to yet another obligation I didn't have the energy for, I finally broke down and asked God a question I should have asked years earlier.
Welcome back to God Showed Up Stories. Tonight's story is for the people pleasers, the helpers, the peacemakers, the ones who constantly carry other people's expectations, the ones who say yes when they desperately want to say no, the ones who worry about disappointing everyone around them. Maybe you've spent years trying to earn approval. Maybe you've built your identity around being needed. Maybe you've become so focused on keeping everyone else happy that you've forgotten how to listen to your own heart. If that's you, this story is for you. Before we begin, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this story with someone who may need encouragement tonight. And comment below. Have you ever struggled to say no? Never forget this. Your worth is not determined by how many people you please. Your value is not measured by how much you sacrifice yourself. And being loved does not require constantly earning approval. All right, let's get into tonight's story.
For as long as I can remember, I wanted people to be proud of me. As a little girl, I worked hard to earn approval, good grades, good behavior, helping whenever I could. I learned very early that making other people happy felt safe. It felt rewarding. It felt like love. As I grew older, that pattern followed me into adulthood. I became the person everyone could count on. The reliable one, the dependable one, the helper. If someone needed a favor, I said yes. If a coworker needed help, I stayed late. If a family member had a problem, I stepped in. If a friend needed support, I rearranged my schedule. At first, it felt good. People appreciated me. They thanked me. They praised me. They described me as kind, generous, and selfless. What nobody saw was the fear underneath it all. I wasn't helping people simply because I wanted to. Many times, I was helping because I was terrified of disappointing them. Every decision seemed to pass through the same filter. What will they think? Will they be upset? Will they still like me? Will they still need me? Will they still approve of me? Over time, I stopped asking a much more important question. What do I actually want? The truth is, I wasn't sure anymore. Years passed. Then, more years. And little by little, I lost pieces of myself. Dreams I once had quietly disappeared. Hobbies faded away. Goals got postponed. Some never returned at all. I avoided conflict whenever possible. I agreed to things I didn't want to do. I carried responsibilities that were never mine to carry. And because I was always focused on everyone else's expectations, I rarely paid attention to my own needs. Eventually, the cost started showing. My anxiety increased. I constantly felt overwhelmed. My body seemed exhausted all the time. Sleep became difficult. Rest never felt like enough. Even when I had free time, guilt followed me. If I wasn't helping someone, I felt selfish. If I prioritized myself, I felt irresponsible. No matter what I did, it never felt like enough. The breaking point came on an ordinary Tuesday evening. Someone had asked me to take on another commitment, another responsibility, another favor. I wanted to say no. Every part of me wanted to say no. I was exhausted, emotionally drained, physically tired, already overwhelmed. Yet the word that came out of my mouth was yes. Again, as soon as I got back to my car, I just sat there. The parking lot was quiet. The engine wasn't running. The world seemed still, and suddenly I started crying. Not because of that one request, because of years of requests, years of pressure, years of trying to be everything for everyone. I remember staring through the windshield and realizing something that scared me. I couldn't remember the last time I had made a decision based on what I truly wanted. I had become so focused on meeting everyone else's expectations that I no longer knew who I was beneath them. That realization hurt. more than I expected. For the first time in a long time, I prayed honestly. Not a polished prayer, not a perfect prayer, just an honest one. God, who am I beneath all of this? Who am I when I'm not trying to make everyone happy? The question stayed with me. A few days later, a friend invited me to a small personal growth workshop. Normally, I would have declined, but something inside me felt different, so I went. The workshop wasn't anything dramatic, just a small group of people talking about life, stress, boundaries, and personal growth. I sat quietly near the back of the room, listening, observing, trying not to draw attention to myself. That's where I met her, an older woman who seemed calm in a way I couldn't quite explain. There was a confidence about her, not arrogance, peace, the kind of peace I realized I desperately wanted. After the workshop ended, we started talking. At first, it was casual conversation. Then, somehow, the conversation became personal. And before I realized it, I found myself sharing things I hadn't admitted to many people. The pressure, the anxiety, the constant need for approval, the guilt I felt whenever I tried to put myself first. She listened carefully. Then she smiled softly and said something that immediately caught my attention. I spent nearly 40 years living exactly the same way. I looked at her in disbelief. She seemed so confident, so comfortable in her own skin, so free. She laughed gently. "Trust me," she said. "I wasn't always this way." Then she began sharing her story. And as she spoke, I felt something happening inside me. For the first time, I was hearing someone describe struggles that sounded exactly like my own. And deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling that God had arranged this conversation long before I ever walked into that room.